Hey, Bryce here. So let's talk about bookkeeping business income. Why a bookkeeping business is the easiest model to reach your first 6 figures in business. Now, I have my little notepad over here, so I'm going to be going kind of back and forth to make sure I hit the action points I want. But for me, I had tried a lot of different business models before I started doing like bookkeeping and accounting, because I was working, in accounting for my career when I first got out of like college, but I didn't really think that it could work because it's not like a sexy business model. It's not like stock trading or e-commerce or like social media marketing agency. Like those seem like cool, right? You find a product from China, you put on a website, you build a website in like a day, and then selling millions and millions of dollars. Like that seemed cool to me. That seemed like it would work. I wanted to like make $1 billion overnight, right? But it wasn't until I started focusing on a hard, tangible skill, which is accounting and bookkeeping, that it became a lot easier to go and reach some financial goals that I had. So I'm going to kind of break down why. Also, if you want some help like really growing your business, like maybe you've been thinking about starting a business, or maybe you're in business right now for bookkeeping, or even accounting business, but it's just not quite going the way that you want it to, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our program. Okay? So there's 3 main aspects that cause this business to be the easiest beginner business model. Now, number 1, I'm going to talk about overhead to income ratio. Okay, so for most business models, they are more revenue driven business models, not profit driven business models. So what do I mean by that? So e-commerce, in most cases for like e-commerce, you have to buy a lot of inventory. So you're already like starting inside the hole, right? And then to go and sell, you have to spend money on advertisements to go get your brand up and actually go get that traffic. So you're already starting inside the hole. But the hope is that even though you put the stuff in the hole and you buy the inventory ahead of time, you're able to sell it at enough of a profit margin to where it like makes sense and it makes sense, right? So on a lot of cases, like these guys are only making like 10 to 30% margin on, we'll say like $100,000 or like $1 million worth of products. But the reason why they kind of like it is because they think that it's passive, even though there's not really a lot that's passive about e-commerce businesses, because you like really understand inventory, you have to understand branding, you have to understand the web design, you have to understand like the marketing, the email marketing, etc. Now, even taking a step back, most businesses, cost a lot of money to start. If you see a McDonald's, right? Generally, you have to have $1 million to $2 million either from a loan or cash to start like a McDonald's like franchise location. Okay, that's hard. That's a lot of risk that's involved. You have to invest a lot before you can actually even like be open for day one. But I have an uncle. He was talking about like for healthcare, when he used to own like a healthcare clinic, I believe it was. You had to have 3 years worth of expenses and be able to pay like a staff before they would ever even allow you to be like able to take on different types of patients and clients, especially if you're like getting paneled. Like the requirements were so high. In a lot of different industries, like you're lucky to make between 5 to maybe 30% margins max. Like if you hear someone saying like they're doing really well, they generally mean they're doing like 30% margins on their business, right? That's assuming the business owner actually knows what they're doing too, and they have accurate books. Part of the reason they're working with you is they don't actually know how much they're making. So they might be having high revenue, like maybe they're doing 1 million, but I've seen companies where they're doing like $1 million a year and they're actually losing, where they're expending about $1.2 million, so they're losing $200,000 every single year, right? So, and they didn't know that because they just didn't have clean books. They just didn't know that. They felt like the bank was going up, but the bank account wasn't going by as much. And we have like loans, and why is our credit card, like our business card, like going up and up and up and up every month, even though we're supposed to be making like $30,000 a month or whatever, right? They just didn't know, right? But versus for like an accounting or bookkeeping business, there's not that many expenses. Think about it. QuickBooks Online for accountants is free, right? Most people are watching this like either on a cell phone or a phone, right? If you don't have a phone, I hope you have a computer, right? Because most people have a computer, or you can just go to like a public library and use it. But if you don't have a phone, you can still make calls if you have Wi-Fi on your computer, right? So really all you need is QuickBooks Online access, you need a phone, you need a computer, right? Assuming that you're living in USA, Canada, UK, etc., you probably have at least 2 out of those 3 things, right? So you have enough to get started. In a lot of cases, you've already paid for those things ahead of time. So it's not like you're buying the computer just for this business. Now you can in some cases, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if you don't have any clients yet, just focus on getting clients. Don't like go and like get a bunch of expenses. Don't get a bunch of like random stuff. Like just go straight to market and really go. Like one of our students named Dr. Spencer, she was doing about $15,000 a month with just a phone and a laptop. It took her about 6 months to get up to that point, but there weren't many expenses, right? So she ended up like leaving her job, and her living expenses were only about $6,000. So I mean, she was saving over 50% of her business income, and that's before taxes, of course. We're gonna talk about an example in a minute about like with taxes and stuff and like how that can really affect your income. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't that many expenses, right? And there's a certain inflection point, depending on like the type of client you get, where you might need to go and pick up like, you know, maybe some staff accountants underneath you, or some contractors do the work for you. But at about that, it's right about like $15,000 to $16,000 a month. That's when most people are going to need some contractors to do some of the work for them. Now, some people might do it earlier just because they need to, but I've seen on average about like 12 to about 15 before you really might need to go and get some help. So she was kind of right on that precipice, but at that point she was still able to, like, you know, really, her profit margin was super high in her business, and even counting her living expenses. So from what she made in her business minus her living expenses, was still saving over 50% of what came in from the business. Now, you're not going to find that with a lot of other business models. Like, you just don't find that. It's right. So it's kind of like a mini, kind of like you're beating the system of life almost, especially when it's 6. When you try and go to like 7 figures inside of this business model, it does kind of break down. That's when things kind of get all kind of screwy. But right around like 10K to 20K to 30K, that's when like you're really, really profitable still. Now, next thing is cost per acquisition. So most businesses, it costs money to get someone to pay money. So you ever hear the phrase like it takes money to make money? In most business models, that's true. In this business model, it's not necessarily true. Okay, or it does not have to be your money that it takes to actually go make money. That's one thing, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But so for let's say, for example, most internet businesses, if you see someone running a Facebook ad, right, it's going to cost between $1,000 to $2,000 for them to get one client. In some industries, it can be as low as $750. So about $750 to about $2,000 is kind of what I've seen on average. If they know what they're doing. There's always going to be people that are going to spend way more. There's some people that are going to spend way less. But I'm just saying, like, for average, $750 to about $2,000 for a client, right? That's expensive. You try and multiply it out by 100 clients. Let's say if you're at 2,000 times about 100, that's $200,000 you just spent on ads to go and grow your business. For our business, we don't need to do that. Think about it. You can go and get clients using like LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn is free. That's a free platform. Same thing for Facebook and Instagram. You don't even need to have advertisements, because think about this. In the USA alone, there are 31.2 million businesses that are eligible for your service, right? You can literally, if you know what to say and you know how to do it, you can get clients very, very, very easily, right? It's just most people don't know what to do. That's why they watch videos like these, right? But it's not that hard. It's not like for example, some internet businesses, they have to go and build a website. They have to go and make a virtual presentation, right? That's like 15 to 20 minutes long. That's like has to be perfect. They have to get people to go to that website and give them their email address. They have to make sure the advertisements that are sending people to that website work. They have to make sure Facebook doesn't shut down their ad account. They have to make sure that they understand how to do a consultation call, right? Because they don't do the consultation call right, they lose a client, they lose money. They also have to make sure that they understand like follow-ups, because like not everyone that comes from an ad is going to buy from you on the first time. They might need multiple touch points over 6 to 9 months. That's another thing. It might take you 6 months before someone that comes in and watches your video on day 1 pays you, right? So it's like you have all these different expenses and different things that have to go right in order for you to actually like even just like break even and just survive doing that kind of strategy. But for us, we don't even have to do that. Think about it too. You can actually utilize the ad spend of someone else and the hard work of someone else to go and get clients. So let's say, I'll give you an example. One of our students, her name is Dominique. So she basically went and partnered with an insurance agent. Now this insurance agent has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on advertisements over the last like 10 years, right? Within 10 days of meeting this person, he gave her $5,400 per month worth of clients. 10 days. Okay, so basically Dominique, she used we teach like mailers inside of our program. I don't really publicize that we do mailers on like this channel in a lot of cases, because number one, it's really technical and there's an expense to it, so I don't want people going like spending a lot of money on mailers, having it not work, and they like hate me, right? Because it is very technical when you do mailers. But she spent 55 cents on the mailer campaign, right? Because money was a little bit tight for her in the beginning. She then got a call back 3 days after she stuffed the envelope and put it in the mail. Another 7 days they went through negotiations to talk to some of the guys' existing clients. They sold $5,400, and that's not even the first. I think a couple of them needed like a cleanup. So in the first month, she got $12,800 from this person, right? That's in 14 days of joining our mentorship program. And then after that initial $12,800, she's set for $5,400 a month, right? For 55 cents. If I could pay 55 cents and get $5,400, I would do that every single day of my life, right? But most businesses, like if you told somebody who was in business and had to spend $2,000 per client that you just got half of six figures off 55 cents, they would hold you at gunpoint and ask you what you did to do it and teach them it right there. Because it's really, really, really good, right? So she piggybacked off someone else's ad spend, someone else's expenses and stuff to go and grow her business. Now, in a lot of business models, you can't do it for like McDonald's. I mean, you kind of can, but not really. I mean, you can't do that for like an e-commerce store. You can't do that for like a local social media marketing agency or like a website design company, right? Next thing, okay, size of client mixed with longevity of a client. So let's do an example. So I know established firms that have been in business for 15, 20, 25 years, and they were saying that they were seeing the average client tenure for them is about 10 years. Now, some clients will stay with them for 25 years, some clients will stay with them for a year, right? So it averages out right about 10 years for them, okay? So I'm just gonna say this is just like the average in our example. So let's say someone stays with you for 10 years, okay? Now, let's say that you're doing your minimum, $500 a month, okay? So $500 a month is kind of like the minimum I teach like students in our program to charge per month, and there's 12 months in a year, okay? So that means that one client is worth about $60,000 over 10 years. That's how much they're gonna pay you over 10 years, okay? So let's say that in your first year of business, like, you know, you do well, you're moving good. Maybe you have like 1.5 clients per month, about 20 clients by the end of year number one, right? Like obviously you're not doing it your own, because if you're doing your own, most people don't really understand how to get that many clients, right? Okay, cool. So let's assume you have some help, you're able to do it in like 1 year, you get 20 clients, okay? Remember, this is the worst case, remember? Because like we generally teach people minimum $500 per month. So if you're getting clients for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, it's gonna take you a lot less clients. But I'm just saying worst case scenario, okay? So we'll say 20 clients times about $60,000, right? Because they're paying us $60,000 over the 10 years. That is $1.2 million, right? About 85 to 90% of that will be profit, because remember, the average bookkeeper can handle about $10,000 to about $12,000 per month worth of work themselves, if they're pricing it right. If you're not pricing right, some people I've seen, like, they couldn't even handle $1,000 a month because they just have like a bunch of micro clients, right? But assuming you're pricing this thing correctly, right, you can handle about $10,000 to about $12,000 a month just by yourself. Okay, and that's assuming you're doing bookkeeping. If you're doing high-level services like virtual CFO, then it might be you can definitely handle more. But I'm just saying for transactional bookkeeping by itself, okay. About $1.2 million, 85, 90% is like gonna be profit. Okay, so for a lot of people, making $1.2 million over 10 years would be enough to like really retire. Okay, especially like let's say you're in your 40s and you get an extra like $1.2 million over 10 years. That's a lot for a lot of people, right? Now, especially if you start learning how to invest the profits to get passive income. So let's say you have like an investment vehicle that's like gives you 10% returns each year. That's about what the S&P kind of averages, about 10% per year, give or take, 2%. Now let's assume that you need about $70,000 per year to live on, right? That's a lot of people have about $70,000. Some people might have more if they have like student loans, etc. I don't know your lifestyle. I'm just gonna say the average, right? I mean, because if you think about like I think the median income is like, what is it, $25,000 to like $40,000 a year. So I mean, if your expenses are 70, you're generally be on like the higher side, right? So over a 10-year period, it's about $700,000 that would have been going to just like living expenses, okay? And then about $150,000 out of that $1.2 million would go to taxes, give or take like $50,000 in total, depending on how you know to use like the tax code, like the write-offs and deductions you're able to get, okay? So that would leave you about $350,000, right? At about 10% per year return on the investments that you have, that would generate about $35,000 per year that are coming in passively due to your investments, right? So we'll assume that's going to take you about 5 years to go and save up to save to about 350K, because you're doing 100, whatever, right? So about 5 years, it's an extra about $175,000 that came in passive income. Okay, so this is actually one of the places my student Audrey has just entered into. So she was doing about 120, like 150. Like last year she did about 125. This year she got the 2 really big contracts. They're like the referral partnership, and they're like giving her like 11 to like 20 clients a piece, and she got 3 of them in the last like 2 months, right? So it's really, really big. So worst case is about 150. She might get up to about 200K this year, depending on how those other contracts go and like how long she has the contracts. If the contracts come in like October, of course you're gonna have like less time making the extra revenue, right? But if they come in like now, she's gonna have an extra 5 months to kind of like keep that profit. So it might get up to about 200K. Okay, so she actually used some of the money from her business to buy real estate, which then covers 50% of her living expenses. And also she saves about $120,000 per year, right? Because when you have real estate, there's a lot of like tax write-offs and different things like that you can get. So, and it covered a lot of her expenses too, based on like the rent. So it's actually kind of cool, because now she entered the place to where she was a beginner. She literally didn't know how to start a business when she came to me. Like we helped her start the business, know how to price her services, know how to go and get the clients, know exactly what to say, build that marketing channel, learn how to hire like contractors, train the contractors, right? Started from scratch, right? But it's just like it's very possible for someone with no business experience to do this, unlike other business models where it's extremely challenging to do that. So that's why I'm so passionate about like teaching people this business model, because it's one of the things that changed my life, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to help out hundreds of people really start their business, go and grow their business, and then change their life. So if you want some help doing this, like maybe you see like you've been trying some different business models, just not quite working, or maybe you just want to get this thing going and you're trying maybe like a client or 2, but it's just not quite going the way you expected, just because like there's a skill gap. Like maybe it's like your heart's in the right place, that if you stay there long enough and you have the skill set, then you would make it work. You just need that proven roadmap in order to know exactly what you need to do and like know what you don't know. Go ahead and click that link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself, see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? I'm here for you, and I cannot wait to see you on the other side and see if it's a good fit for us to work together, okay? Hopefully you have a good rest of your day. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.